Hello, welcome to the 9th episode of 30 Minutes Robotic Milking Edition. I'm your host, Marcia Andrews, Dairy Science Professor and Extension Specialist at the University of Minnesota. With us today is also your co-host, Jim Sulphur, Dairy Extension Educator at the St. Cloud Regional Office. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Marcia, and welcome everyone.
Thank you for being here. So just a few housekeeping items before we bring our guest today. These episodes are held on the third Thursday of every month at 11:30 a.m. Central US time. So if you want to join us live, if you're watching this recording, you want to join us live next time, please register at z.umn.edu/30 MINRM. We are using a Zoom platform today, and to ask questions after the producer's overview of their operation, we would like you to type your question in the Q&A box. You can find that, you hover with your mouse on the bottom of your screen. Please do not use the chat box, only the Q&A. And you can type your question or comment, and either Jim or I will read the question on your behalf for our guest to answer. So now it's my pleasure to invite our guest today to join us, and that is Allison from Milton Farms. Hi, Allison. Let me see if yes, we can hear you. Let me see.
Hi.
There we go. We're going to start
All
your
right,
video.
thanks.
Sorry about that. I was trying to.
Oh, no worries.
So there she is with video and audio. So thank you so much. I know you have a very busy operation, so we very much appreciate. Allison was the dairy manager at Milton Farms. She joined us today. She's going to give us an overview of the operation for us to understand what's going on, and then we'll open up for questions. So thank you. Okay, I need to mute myself. There we go.
So like you said, I'm Allison Brandt, and this is Milton Farms. It's an operation with 30 robots in 10 different pens. So we have 3 robots per pen, milking with Lely A5s. We are a positive pressure tunnel vent barn, which is incredible. It keeps the barn very warm during the winter time and very, very cool during the summertime. We flush our alleyways with recycled water, just a big loop system. And we have 5 feed lanes that we push up with the Lely Junos, which is incredible. And really our goals and everything at Milton Farms is just cow comfort. That's why we put in robots, and that's our whole mission, is just cow comfort, and we do everything for the cows. So as of right now, we are milking about 95 pounds average, like I said, with 1,800 cows. Our Somatic cell runs about 100,000. I'd like to get it lower than that, but for right now, since we just started up another 12 robots, we'll get there eventually, which is not a bad goal to have in mind at all. But if you want to move to the next slide. So like I said, we have 3 robots per pen in the capital L form. And I love this layout because we can allow our cows to go into a sort pen, which is where we do 95% of our cow touches and shots, vaccines. All of our cows can route into that sort pen for herd check, for preg checking them, like I said, any vaccines. And this allows just to keep labor as efficient as possible. So you can see from this picture, how we're laid out. This is like in the middle of the barn. And if you want to go to the next slide, I can kind of show those sort pens and stuff. So in the picture on the left is our sort pens, and we bed with recycled sand. And in our sort pens, there's 10 stalls per pen. And all these cows are allowed to eat milk in these pens, so they can stay in these pens as long as possible. For our, fresh heifers, we keep them in these pens for 4 days, and then they go out into the general population. That just helps them train in a little bit better. For our mature cows, really, they only stay in the pen after they freshen for 1 day, and then they go out into the big pen. So, like I said, we bed with recycled sand, and this is a picture on the right of our flush system. And we flush 4 times a day, or 6 times a day. Sorry about that. So every 4 hours, and it does an incredible job at keeping the lanes clean, their feet clean. Sorry, I'm getting dry throat. We bed our stalls twice a week, like I said, with recycled sand. And during this time, we also run our cows through foot bath, which is 3 times a week. 1 day with formaldehyde and 2 days with copper sulfate. And our foot baths are laid out for like 1.5 cows can fit through them. So that just kind of keeps efficiency going and cows moving. So like I said, these are the Lely juveniles. We have 5 feed lanes that each juvenile kind of pushes up every 1.5 hours. And it's just really nice to keep feed pushed up and everything. To keep our cows clean, we have two different types of brushes. One of them is a future cow brush that does a really good job at getting the sides of the cows and their backs, and does a really good job at that. And we also have a Lely brush that does a really good job at keeping the backs of the cows clean. So we decided to go with 2 different types of brush, just since we do have the flush barn. Their tails get, laid in the flush water and stuff, and it kind of flips up onto their back a little bit more than in a traditional like scraper barn system. So we had the future cows, and then we switched to the Lely, or didn't switch, but we added the Lely brushes as well, just to get their backs just a little bit cleaner and stuff like that. We also do like udder singeing and tail trimming at least 8 times in their lactation. So anytime that a cow goes up into that sort pen, they are automatically getting their udders trimmed, their udder singed and their tails trimmed. So that keeps them really nice and clean. So Marcia, I guess, what else do you want me to talk about?
This was good, Allison, just the overview, so people had an idea what the barn looks like and some of the main features of it. I'm sure people have questions in terms of some details. It's hard to know what people are curious about, so I appreciate you giving that overview. And we didn't talk much about your labor. I think you have 6 full-time people right now still working with the cows, right? Not considering folks that feed, etc., but with the cows themselves, correct?
Yep. We have 6 full-time people. We have 3 in the morning and 2 people at night, and then we kind of have a float person. That'd be me, that goes wherever I'm needed. So we have 1 full-time person that does like all of our health report, and she checks out all the cows are in the health report, all fresh cows every single day. We have 1 maintenance guy that he does all the maintenance on the robot, checks everything out every day. And then he also fetches and cleans and stuff like that. And then we have 3 other people that they fetch and clean, and they keep the cows healthy and the environment clean as well.
Excellent, excellent
yeah.
efficiency for sure. Labor.
Yeah.
It's the right people, right, Allison, that makes a difference, I think. Yeah, and you're very good at hiring the right people for their job.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's
Takes the right
important.
people to be as efficient as we are.
Right. So we have get started with some questions from the audience here. So Jim can read the first question, Jim, and then I'll go to the next. Okay.
Okay, the question is, do you have any training for fresh heifers? I assume pre-training. If so, what is it? Also, when do heifers freshen? How many times a day do you fetch them? And how long do you fetch them? So kind of beyond that, just talk about your fetching behavior, and a cow freshens, what happens to her?
Yeah, so we have a really unique system. We have a Cosmic, which is a Lely training stall that gets put in our pre-fresh heifer pen. Our heifers go into that pen about a month to a month and a half before they calve, and they can go in that training stall as many times as they want. And since we still do have a conventional parlor, I pick the heifers that are going to come to the robot barn based on how many times that they visited that Cosmic. So, any behavioral issues, them real nervous heifers that get pushed around a lot, they're not going to visit that Cosmic as much. So they actually don't end up into the robot barn as many times as, I'm picking the perfect personality, I guess, for a robot barn cow doing this. So then once they freshen and I decide that they hit that Cosmic hard enough, they're going to become a robot barn cow. They come in and they get dispersed into our 4 heifer pens at the moment. Since we just started up, we have 2 more heifer pens than I'd like to see, but they get put in there and we actually push them through 3 times a day just to make sure that they have a good strong base in those first 4 days. And then they come on our fetch list at about 6.5 hours. So when we fetch 4 times a day, so if they're on the list, then they get fetched. But typically, with that Cosmic, by day 7, they're going in on their own and they're hitting it very hard. So
that's excellent. I think that already answered another question that we had here about how long it takes for your cows to get into the main population. And so your heifers takes a few days, cows too, I suppose. Yeah.
Cows, they stay in that sort pen just to make sure that they're healthy and they're good and strong for about 36 hours.
Okay.
So 36 to 48 hours they stay in that pen.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So there's a question here about since you're using a flush system especially, and that I think that was a question I asked you when I was at the farm. It's like, do you have any issues with digital dermatitis?
No, actually. I think since that we flush as frequent as we do, it keeps the back of the legs cleaner, or not cleaner, but the water is always running over them so that the feet aren't actually getting caked in manure. So digital dermatitis is not a problem in this farm whatsoever.
Good. Jim.
Yeah, I think one of the questions is, how many Junos do you have for that many robots and that long alleyways?
Yeah, we have 5 Junos. Each of them actually have their own name. So we have Bruce, Kamooch, Hank, Jesus, and I'm missing one. Jimmy. Jimmy's our new one. So yeah. So each Juno pushes up 2 pens, and it seems to be really good and efficient. They can push up enough times a day that keeps everything pushed up and nice. So
that's very cute. So is it you that names them, or the employees decide, okay, I'm gonna give some suggestions for names of the Junos?
I got to name a few of them.
Okay, that's cool. I saw that was on the farm. I forgot to ask you because I saw labels like, oh, this is not called a Juno, it's called something else. It's really cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so they would like you to talk a little bit more about how is the cow floor, the food path laid out on the barn, like by robots or in crossovers, food paths. Do you understand the question?
Yeah, I think the question is, you see it, Allison, where are they at? Doesn't
Maybe a
look
cow
like they're
flow
by
kind
the
of thing, maybe?
robots. Yeah, where
Yeah.
are they? How do you get them through the foot
Oh,
bath?
food baths. I'm sorry. It must be they meant to say food baths. So where they are in the barn. I think that
Okay.
detail was not mentioned. Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Our foot baths are located at the end of the barn. Just keeps it away from the robots so that we're not disturbing any cow flow to the robots themselves. And we just push them through when we're bedding, so moving the cows around anyways, which keeps it efficient and we're not disturbing them extra. So
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
Jim?
Well, kind of, I'll add a question to this.
Mm.
It's your robot experience began with this system, or do you have another robot before? Kind of tied in with that. Why did you go with robots? And, does anybody have more experience with robots before you put these in?
I went to college at NTC in Wausau, Wisconsin, which has a robot there, but that was my only experience with robots before we started up. So it was a lot of trial and error and learning as we go, which was great. I mean, we figured it out and it's going very smoothly. What was the second part of that question?
I just kind of added, why did you select robots? Why did you decide to go with robots? Because did you say you also milk cows in a parlor? And how many cows are in the parlor?
So we have about 1,200 cows still in our conventional parlor. And we just did that, cash flow things and keep more cows on the farm itself. But I think a goal of ours is to shut that parlor down and completely go over to robots. And we went to robots just due to cow comfort. We bounced around a couple different ideas about going with a rotary and, doing something different there. But just when it comes down to it, the cow comfort and the amount of benefits for the cow itself, switching to robots versus having a parlor still or having cows go up into a holding area is just 1,000 times better than having to push them up to the parlor each day. So, and with the activity system that the robots do have, sorry, we can use a ton less hormone shots and stuff to get cows pregnant, and we're getting cows more pregnant just off of a natural heat, which is fantastic. I mean, we went from 40% conception rate from in our parlor to now we're up to 50% here, 32% preg rate for the robot barn, and using a quarter of the shots. So, and that's where I want to get down to using 0 shots eventually, all off of a natural heat to get cows pregnant. And that's just one of my main goals. And with robots, it just allows us to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's excellent. So there's a question here, Allison, about, do you have a lot of problems with the robots? Like on average, how many calls do you get a week?
A week, I'd say for like a critical alarm or something that needs attention right away, we get about 5 to 7. So not a whole lot. I also wholeheartedly grant that to our maintenance guy. He's fantastic and he knows a lot about robots and how to fix them and how to prevent things from breaking down. So we actually wash our robots 4 times a day, 3 to 4 times, I should say. Now that we've added the extra 12, that 4th wash is kind of hard to fit in, and so our robots do not break down a whole lot, for even simple things like chains breaking. But we do wash them a lot, keep them extremely clean as well.
Yeah, so your maintenance, cleanliness, so you put a lot of effort into that. So to prevent major issues. Yeah, that's very important that people don't think about that. You put robots, you have to really stay on top of it and getting the right person, like you mentioned, that knows how to fix little things, that makes a huge difference. Yeah. Excellent. Jim, I think we're switching to feeding now. So
yeah, there's always questions on feeding. So how many feeds do you feed? Can you expand? What are they? Maybe how much you feed or something like that, but kind of that whole feeding
in the robot
culture that you have. Yeah, in the robot, correct.
Oh, okay. So we feed we feed with pellets. We feed on about 10 pounds per cow. We also feed 2 different types. So we feed a post-fresh pellet and just a regular pellet that we feed to the rest of the cows. So up until 21 days, they get this post-fresh pellet that just has extra goodies in it to keep, energy levels up on those post-fresh cows. And they get about 6 pounds of that on up until 21 days, and then they slowly transition to our feed type 1, we call it, but our regular pellet.
So do they get one or the other? Do they get a mixture of those two pellets?
They get a mixture of the pellets up until 21 days of milk, and then they go straight to our main feed type.
Okay.
Okay. Just to go with a quick question here, Jim, rather than doing the other one, but do you have the somatic cell count counters in your robots? And if so, what benefits do you see with those?
Yep. Oh, we do have run the somatic cell counters, and we absolutely love them. I can see exactly which day a cow came, onto the health report based on somatic cell, or what day the infection truly started, really. And we're just able to culture off, our high somatic cell count cows, able to treat cows more efficiently, and keep, the milk quality as high as possible.
So you had them from the get. Sorry, or just only
ahead.
fed from the get-go, or you just had them more recently? Sorry. Did you have them from the get-go or just more recently? Get-go.
Oh, yep, we've had them from the start.
Okay.
And how do you use those? You hinted at that a little bit. So you look in your report today and you see a cow. I assume you have a list with high somatic cell count cows. What happens to that cow?
We will grab a milk sample of her.
Okay.
We culture it on farm, so we have the results of if it is something that we need to treat, or maybe a culling decision if it's truly bad enough. But typically we'll treat that cow right away then, or we will let her go and cure it on her own. So we actually don't have very many clinical mastitis cases due to this. We're mainly culturing our high somatic cell count cows, So I think this just keeps our milk quality extremely high, and it goes along with our goals of Milton Farms. So.
Excellent. So what is the extra cost of having the system? I know you have to install in each robot, right? And then there's reagent costs. Do you have any idea what's the cost of that per cow?
I'm not sure as of right now. I can look it up then.
Yeah, that's fine. I think it's probably cents per cow, I would say, per day. Yeah, it's worth it.
At one time it was like 7 cents a cow per day.
Right. I think I agree with you. That makes so much easier, right? Manage milk quality. Yeah. Jim, do you want to move on to the next question?
Sure. And now that you've been in for a little while, is there anything you'd change about barn design or anything around that you would think, I wish this was a little bit different than we currently have it?
And an amazing part is, no, I wouldn't change anything about how our layout is. Our labor efficiency is extremely high due to how we have the robots laid out. So I wouldn't change anything major about our barn design. It is truly what I would go with 100% again.
That's great to hear. So just to follow up on that, somebody's mentioning here, how's your flow out of the robots? This person had a lot of cows coming back to the front. They hang around and they slow the outflow. But in your setup, do you see this happening at all?
If you want to actually flip back to the picture I have of the cow standing in front of the robot, I can kind of show, since we have such a big area in front of the robots, the cows, they exit. But also something that you'll notice is we leave the feed bunk open in front of the robots, since we don't need as much bunk space in robots as you do in a conventional parlor. We leave that open and we don't put any feed there. So when cows exit the robot, they automatically want to go further away from the robots to eat then, and they get away from it, so that more of your timid cows can come up and get milked. So that helps, with fetching a lot, and just helps with the flow of the robots extremely well.
Yes, that's very smart management practice. Yes, thank you. Jim?
Kind of back to training heifers. Has that been just kind of an opinion question? Has that been easy, or is it pretty difficult to get those heifers trained?
No, I think it's due to the Cosmic and having that training stall, it's extremely easy to train heifers. Every now and then you'll get a really kicky one that you'd still have in a parlor regardless. So, you know, it takes her a little bit longer just to calm down and make sure she keeps her feet on the floor. But they realize that there's that feed there. So they just automatically go in. They want to eat. They want to, you know, get milked right away. So I don't have any problem with training heifers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we forgot to put the picture of the cosmic on the in here. I just forgot to ask you, and I did have a picture for the newsletter, which we're gonna publish soon here. So sorry about that, but anyway, it's good. Just quick about your hoof trimming protocol. Just should be a quick answer there, but what how often you trim or yeah.
What was that?
Hoof trimming protocol.
So we trim twice lactation, so once at about 60 to 100 days of milk, and then again right before dry off.
Okay.
So,
Jim?
Do you have any scales? Oh, a couple of them related to barn. Is your cross ventilated? I think you mentioned it was tunnel ventilated, but do you want to talk a little bit again about your ventilation in your barn? And there's a question about scales. Do you have scales on your robot boxes? Okay.
Nope, we do not have any scales on the robots themselves. So, and David Trimner would be a better person to talk to about the ventilation of the barn. But like I said, you know, our ventilation is from BES. It is extremely efficient, you know, as far as energy efficiency. And it also, you know, it temperature regulates all by itself, or, you know, automatically.
Yeah, you have this.
It looked like a hybrid barn with tunnels.
Yes.
Tunnels on the end, and
you
then
see
there's
here
still
the fans in the
over
end.
the
Yeah.
stalls.
So that's cross vent, and then you have all the big fans here, these big ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that moves
So it
more of
looks-
the air. So it's a hybrid kind of thing.
Yeah.
Low
that's what it looks
ceilings.
like to
So it's
me.
a low ceiling barn.
Yep.
So yeah, like here, maybe let's see. You can see, you know, the extra fans and all that. So it's super comfortable, unbelievably comfortable there in the hot day. And it's just like, wow, was like probably like 10 degrees cooler inside this barn. It's pretty amazing.
No, it's a very comfortable barn.
And yeah, and you do have the smart system from the VS Artex, right? VS Artex that controls the barn automatically to really adjust the temp, you know, the movement, how many fans are on, etc., based on humidity, temperature, etc. So that's really cool too. Sorry, I have to brag that you have the technology too.
So, but yeah, like I said, even on a 0 below day in Wisconsin, the middle of the barn stays about 40 degrees. So, which keeps your robots from freezing up and stuff like that. So, and also with having a flush barn, we can't have it freezing up in our 0 below days in Wisconsin. So, but we have not had any problems whatsoever with freezing up in our barn. So.
Last question, Jim, because we need to pretty soon stop here, the recording at least. So there's a question here.
Yeah, how many hours do you go out on your fetch cow list? So you generate a fetch cow list, you let them go 16 or 18 hours, or when do they go on the list? How many cows do you fetch? Do you want to talk a little bit about your fetching policy?
So like I said, we fetch 4 times a day. And it's based on how many days of milk they are when they come on the fetch list. So our fresh cows up to 30 days of milk, they come on automatically at 6.5 hours. Are from 30 to 100 days, they come on at 8.5 hours. And from 100 to 200 days of milk, they come on at 10 hours. And then anything else comes on at 14 hours. So it's kind of just based on, you know, range of cows and stuff like that, or when we want them fetched, just so that our, you know, heifers that maybe didn't train in quite as well still get fetched. And, you know, if a cow's lame or anything, they get fetched more often than like a typical, if you just said, oh, at 12 hours, all the cows get fetched. So no, I really like how we have our setup. We just don't lose, you know, that training and any milk on our fresh cows. I think if we do fetch them at 6.5 hours. So.
Great. So we have one more question, but I want to stop the recording. And I want to thank you officially for participating today, Allison, and invite everyone to join us again for episode 10 on October 21st, which we're going to go in a completely different direction and go to a smaller dairy that grazes. So how do you use robots with the grazing dairy? So that'll be a unique thing we haven't done before. So join us at that time.